but more importantly, I've been able to participate in my kids' lives in a way that I couldn't do for a number of years. And so, they're a lot more active than I am.
Tiger Woods has long been the face of modern golf greatness. He owns 15 major championships, spent more than 680 weeks ranked world #1, and delivered comebacks that stunned the entire sports world. From the scandal that shattered his image in 2009 to the devastating car crash in 2021, Tiger has stood on the brink of collapse more than once. And each time, he found a way back. In public, he represents discipline and total control. In private, Tiger lives with extreme discretion. On Jupiter Island, Florida, he built a beachfront estate worth tens of millions of dollars, designed to stay far from prying eyes. But during a recent foundation repair, contractors reportedly uncovered a hidden underground vault that did not appear on the original construction plans. The discovery quickly fueled speculation. What exactly has Tiger Woods been keeping beneath his own home? Background and history of the estate. Jupiter Island, located along Florida's eastern coastline, has long been considered one of the most exclusive residential areas in the United States. The island is small, lightly populated, and closely monitored. Traffic is limited, and many access roads discourage non-residents from Jupiter. Palm Beach, a major hub for wealth, finance, and luxury real estate, is less than a 30-minute drive away. The area has attracted high-profile residents for decades. Singer Celine Dion once owned an expansive beachfront compound here. Golf legend Greg Norman also chose the island as his home base. The late actor Burt Reynolds lived nearby for years. Their presence helped cement Jupiter's reputation as a haven for privacy, stability, and long-term property ownership. Real estate values reflect that exclusivity. Many homes sell for $20 to $50 million, with ultra-premium estates exceeding that range. Tiger Woods' property is widely estimated to be worth between $60 million and $80 million, and in a tight luxury market. Some analysts believe it could approach $150 million. Tiger acquired the property in 2006, purchasing 2 adjacent parcels totaling roughly 9 to 12 acres for a reported $40 to $44.5 million. A mansion already stood on the land, but Tiger chose not to renovate it. Instead, he ordered a full demolition. Construction of the new compound took place between 2009 and 2011, a period that coincided with one of the most turbulent chapters of his personal life. After the 2009 infidelity scandal became public, his marriage to Elin Nordegren ended in a costly divorce. Tiger largely withdrew from public view during this time. The new estate became more than a real estate project. It marked a reset. Financial records indicate Tiger secured a mortgage of approximately $54.5 million to support construction. The overall design was overseen by Tiger Woods Design, the firm associated with his golf course projects. This gave him direct control over layout, functionality, and training infrastructure in the aftermath of the scandal. Tiger needed a place where recovery, both physical and psychological, could happen away from cameras. Jupiter provided that buffer. The large acreage allowed him to practice privately, while the waterfront location created a natural separation from the outside world. The estate quickly evolved into the operational center of Tiger's life. It became the place where he spent time with his children, Charlie and Sam, during shared custody. It was where he prepared for competitive returns. Just as importantly, it allowed him to avoid the intense media pressure that had once surrounded him. This approach reflects the influence of his father, Earl Woods, who emphasized discipline, control, and the ability to block out distractions. Tiger was raised to believe that success must be protected, and privacy is one of the strongest forms of protection. From the beginning, the Jupiter property was not designed simply as a residence. It was built to function as a personal headquarters. a space where Tiger could train, recover, raise his family, and manage his career on his own terms. That same level of control is precisely why any unusual detail connected to the estate, especially rumors of a space not included in the original construction plans, has drawn immediate public curiosity. Design and amenities of the estate. Tiger Woods did not build his Jupiter estate as a showpiece. He built it as a controlled environment, a place where daily life, training, recovery, and privacy could operate without disruption. Every structure on the property serves a defined purpose. Nothing appears accidental. The estate is organized around 4 primary buildings, spaced carefully across the acreage to create separation without sacrificing internal flow. At the center stands the main residence, measuring roughly 12,000 square feet. This is where Tiger lives, rests, and spends time with his children. The layout favors openness and movement rather than formal display. A large living area anchors the interior. While the kitchen is designed for regular use instead of entertaining crowds, several bedrooms face the Atlantic, fitted with floor-to-ceiling glass that pulls in natural light while maintaining controlled outward visibility. The interior avoids extravagance. Stone, glass, and muted colors dominate the palette. The atmosphere feels deliberate, quiet, uncluttered, and mentally calming. For an athlete whose performance depends heavily on focus, the design reflects psychological intent as much as architectural taste. A short distance away sits a 14,000 square foot multi-purpose building, effectively the operational engine of the compound. Inside is a professional-grade gym where Tiger can train without stepping into public view. Adjacent rooms support video review, allowing him to study tournament footage or analyze swing mechanics in private. Office space handles business tied to endorsements, course design projects, and foundation work, rather than separating career from home life. Tiger integrated them. The property also includes a guest house and a private studio. Visitors can stay comfortably while remaining outside Tiger's personal zone, a subtle but important boundary in a residence built around control. Many of the structures connect through enclosed glass walkways, allowing movement between buildings without exposure to weather. Cameras or neighboring sightlines. Elevators provide smooth vertical access where needed. A private theater offers a space to screen footage or unwind. Nearby, a temperature-controlled wine cellar supports long-term storage, executed with restraint rather than decoration. The architectural language across the estate remains consistent: modern lines, minimal ornamentation, and an emphasis on function. The goal is not to impress, it is to stabilize. Everything about the property reduces friction, noise, and unpredictability. That philosophy continues outdoors. A 100-foot lap pool stretches along the exterior, clearly built for exercise rather than parties. Close by is a circular dive pool, along with a smaller shallow pool intended for children. The arrangement supports both training and family life without forcing one to interrupt the other. A tennis court adds cross-training capability. For a golfer, managing spinal strain. Varied physical movement is essential. Tiger has long incorporated alternative conditioning methods, and the court allows that flexibility without leaving the compound. At the edge of the property, a private dock provides direct ocean access for yachts and personal watercraft. Public marinas become unnecessary. Arrival and departure remain discreet. The landscaping reinforces the same operational mindset. Native plants dominate the grounds, chosen for durability and low maintenance rather than visual drama. Clean lines guide movement across the property. Nothing feels over-designed. Nature is present, but controlled. Yet the most strategically important feature of the estate is neither the residence nor the waterfront. It is the Precision Practice Complex, a 3-5-acre training environment engineered to replicate professional tournament conditions. Here, Tiger installed 4 distinct putting greens, each calibrated with different speeds and slopes. The subtle variations allow him to rehearse reads similar to those encountered on major championship courses. 6 sand bunkers surround the greens. Some are steep-faced, echoing the visual pressure of Augusta National. Others mimic the flatter, wind-exposed traps typical of British Open venues. Practicing these scenarios at home removes uncertainty when competition arrives. A dedicated wedge range supports approach shots between 85 and 145 yards, distances that frequently determine scoring outcomes. Tracking systems capture ball data, helping refine spin rates and launch angles. From a second-level observation platform, Tiger and his team can evaluate swing patterns and shot dispersion in real time. Beneath the turf, a customized irrigation network draws from a private well, ensuring the surfaces remain consistent regardless of weather. The complex is also equipped with night lighting, allowing practice long after sunset, a crucial advantage during rehabilitation periods when training schedules must adapt to physical limitations. An indoor hitting facility, complete with a launch monitor, removes weather from the equation entirely. Data stays reliable. Repetition becomes uninterrupted. Facilities like these gained even greater importance as Tiger navigated the physical demands of the later stages of his career, when recovery requires patience and privacy. A self-contained training ground becomes more than convenient. It becomes strategic. Security across the estate matches that same level of intention. High perimeter fencing forms the outer boundary. Motion sensors reinforce it. A private access road limits drive-by traffic. Buildings are positioned deep within the property to reduce visibility from neighboring angles and aerial viewpoints. Local regulations prevent extreme overhead shielding, but distance itself functions as protection. The compound sits far enough from public vantage points to make casual observation difficult. The objective is simple: control exposure before it begins. For Tiger Woods, privacy is not a lifestyle preference. It is infrastructure. The estate operates like a sealed system, designed to minimize unpredictability and protect the routines that sustain elite performance. And within a property engineered so meticulously, even the smallest irregularity stands out. Which is why, when reports later surfaced about a space allegedly absent from the original construction plans, curiosity intensified almost immediately. The central secret: discovery and contents of the hidden vault. The discovery reportedly began during what appeared to be routine structural maintenance on Tiger Woods' Jupiter estate. Engineers had identified early indicators of ground instability along one section of the property, a risk not uncommon for large coastal homes built on terrain affected by erosion, shifting soil layers, and gradually rising groundwater. To prevent long-term structural stress, Tiger's management team authorized a reinforcement project that involved bringing in specialists to assess the foundation and install deeper support pilings where necessary. The work was intentionally discreet, rather than launching a visible renovation. The project was categorized as preventive maintenance. Crews operated with limited exposure and often scheduled activity during late hours, reducing the likelihood of attracting attention from neighboring properties or aerial observers. The area of concern sat along the northeastern portion of the estate. During excavation, ground-penetrating scans revealed an unexpected density beneath a concrete section that did not match typical drainage or reinforcement patterns. Contractors initially assumed they were encountering leftover structural material from the original build. However, once the upper layer was carefully broken apart, workers uncovered something far more deliberate: a sealed steel hatch embedded flush with the surrounding foundation. The hatch was industrial in appearance, airtight, and engineered for longevity. When it was finally opened, it revealed a narrow descent into a subterranean chamber measuring approximately 12 feet deep and about 20 by 15 feet across. The space was clearly not improvised storage. It had been professionally constructed, The chamber contained its own ventilation system, dedicated electrical wiring, and advanced moisture protection, essential safeguards in Florida's humid climate. The walls showed signs of acoustic insulation, suggesting that both vibration and sound had been considered during construction. Engineers reviewing the find noted an unusual detail. No accessible version of the estate's construction plans appeared to reference the chamber. Evidence suggested the vault had likely been built during the original construction phase around 2010, yet it had no visible interior entry point from the main residence or adjacent buildings. Access seemed intentionally restricted to the exterior. When workers entered the vault, they did not encounter disorder or forgotten debris. Instead, the room appeared carefully maintained, air quality felt regulated, the temperature stable, and shelving units lined the perimeter with methodical precision. Steel lockboxes, archival containers, and wooden crates rested in organized rows, many labeled with handwritten dates that hinted at a deliberate archival system rather than casual storage. Among the reported contents were several leather-bound photo albums dating back to the early 1990s. The images traced Tiger's development from childhood through his junior tournament years and into early competitive success. Multiple photographs captured training sessions beside his father, Earl Woods, whose disciplined approach shaped Tiger's mentality from an early age. One caption reportedly read, "One day they'll understand," a phrase that suggested foresight, perhaps even an awareness that the materials were being preserved for a future audience. Nearby stood 3 older golf bags, protected rather than displayed. One was believed to be associated with the 2000 U.S. Open, where Tiger secured victory by an unprecedented 15 strokes, still the largest winning margin in major championship history. The others appeared connected to his amateur period and teenage career, reinforcing the sense that the vault functioned as a timeline rather than a trophy room. A heavy fireproof cabinet positioned along one wall reportedly contained medical documentation spanning multiple phases of Tiger's career. MRI scans, rehabilitation schedules, treatment summaries, and handwritten notes formed a clinical record of physical strain. Some entries described pain in direct language, including remarks such as "sharp pain again today, cried after the session," and "numbness in fingers." The tone suggested disciplined self-monitoring, less emotional reflection than performance tracking by an athlete determined to measure recovery in exact terms. Another section of the vault was said to hold digitized film reels totaling roughly 30 hours of raw footage. The recordings reportedly captured private training sessions, rehabilitation work, and moments rarely associated with one of the most controlled public figures in modern sports. In several clips, Tiger appeared to move cautiously between drills. Others showed pauses during workouts, as if he were recalibrating both physically and mentally. One sequence reportedly depicted him sitting alone after an intense session, gathering himself before continuing, rather than polished narratives. The footage seemed to document endurance in its most unfiltered form. When the discovery reached Tiger, his reaction reportedly reflected composure rather than surprise. Individuals familiar with the situation suggested he responded with clear operational directives: document the chamber, secure the perimeter, clean the space, and catalog every item. Additional personnel were assigned to guard the area, while materials were carefully transferred to a more controlled location for preservation and digitization under strict confidentiality. No public statement followed. Speculation emerged quickly. As it often does when privacy intersects with celebrity, some rumors exaggerated the vault's financial significance, estimating hypothetical values as high as $300 million and suggesting the presence of rare collectibles or undisclosed assets. Yet, observers who focused on the nature of the materials reached a different conclusion. The contents appeared less concerned with monetary wealth than with personal continuity. If the reports are accurate, the vault functioned not as a repository of fortune, but as a carefully protected archive, a private record of victories, injuries, discipline, doubt, and persistence. For an athlete who has spent decades controlling his public narrative with exceptional precision, the existence of such a space aligns with a consistent philosophy. Determine what the world sees, and, just as importantly, decide what is preserved beyond public reach. Still, the idea of a chamber absent from official plans invites an unavoidable question. In a residence already engineered for privacy at nearly every level, why create an additional layer concealed deep beneath the structure? The answer may have less to do with secrecy than with authorship. Throughout his career, Tiger Woods has rarely allowed others to define his story, and a hidden archive suggests a deliberate effort to ensure that, when the time comes, the record of that story remains exactly as he intended. Meaning and impact of the secret. Any discussion of the alleged vault must begin with a question of credibility. Much of the narrative surrounding the discovery appears to originate from viral YouTube and Facebook videos carrying titles designed to provoke curiosity. Phrases such as, "what they found inside," tend to prioritize engagement over verification. As of now, no formal confirmation has been issued by major sports outlets like ESPN, nor has the PGA Tour publicly referenced the existence of such a structure. Without institutional validation, the story remains partly speculative. Yet speculation does not automatically imply impossibility. The concept of a hidden archival space aligns closely with Tiger Woods' long-established approach to privacy. Throughout his career, he has maintained tight control over personal information, rarely offering unfiltered access to his inner world. In that context, the idea of a controlled, deeply private storage chamber feels consistent with his personality, whether the details are fully accurate or somewhat amplified through digital storytelling. If the vault exists in the form described, its significance appears less scandalous than symbolic. Nothing reported suggests an attempt to conceal wrongdoing. Instead, the materials point towards something closer to a time capsule, a curated record of endurance. Tiger's career has been defined as much by recovery as by victory. Detailed medical files, progress logs, flexibility measurements, and sleep tracking would reflect the methodical discipline required to return from repeated injuries. Such documentation would be especially meaningful in the years leading up to the 2019 Masters, a tournament widely viewed as one of the greatest comebacks in sports history. Preserving those records would allow Tiger to retain authorship over a narrative often shaped externally by media cycles. The archival intent may also extend beyond Tiger himself. Personal artifacts frequently function as generational bridges, and it is easy to imagine such a collection serving as a future inheritance for his children, particularly Charlie Woods, who has already stepped into competitive golf. Rather than presenting a polished legend, the archive would reveal the labor behind the mythology. This interpretation aligns with Tiger's more recent life trajectory. By 2026, his schedule has increasingly balanced selective competition with long-term initiatives, including the work of the TGR Foundation, which focuses on educational access and youth development. An archive documenting perseverance could eventually support those efforts, offering young athletes a realistic model of what elite resilience demands. From a real estate perspective, even the rumor of a hidden vault adds narrative weight to the property itself. Luxury estates often derive value not only from architecture, but from historical association. Analysts already estimate the compound within the $60 to $80 million range. And a story tied to Tiger's personal legacy could strengthen its long-term cultural significance. Properties connected to defining figures in sport frequently evolve into landmarks, regardless of whether they remain private residences. Within the golf community, the symbolism carries its own implications. Public memory tends to focus on scoreboards, majors won, records held, rankings achieved. A preserved archive shifts attention toward the unseen infrastructure of greatness: repetition, pain management, emotional strain, and obsessive preparation. It reframes Tiger not simply as a champion, but as an athlete whose success was engineered through relentless discipline. The broader context of his current life reinforces that sense of control. His yachts, notably privacy and solitude, are often positioned near the Jupiter coastline, extending his preference for managed personal space even onto the water. Reports have also circulated about a possible relationship with Vanessa Trump, though, as with many aspects of Tiger's personal affairs, confirmation remains limited. Professionally, he continues to shape the sport beyond tournament play, contributing to strategic conversations around the PGA Tour and participating in the development of the technology-driven TGL League. These roles suggest a figure transitioning from pure competitor to institutional architect. Seen through that lens, the rumored vault becomes less about secrecy and more about continuity. It reflects a mindset oriented toward preservation, of effort, of memory, and of authorship. Whether every reported detail proves accurate matters less than what the story reveals about public perception. People expect Tiger Woods to prepare, to document, and to control the narrative surrounding his life. The very plausibility of such a vault underscores how strongly those traits define him. And perhaps that is the deeper impact of the mystery. It shifts attention away from the spectacle of hidden space and toward the psychology of a man who has spent decades ensuring that nothing important is left to chance. Conclusion: when Tiger Woods purchased his Jupiter Island property in 2006, the decision appeared straightforward: secure a private coastal estate large enough to support both his personal life and professional demands. Over the years, however, the compound came to represent far more than luxury real estate. It became the environment where he rebuilt after a public scandal, endured multiple surgeries, navigated career uncertainty, and continued raising his children while preparing for unlikely returns to competitive golf. Every structure, training facility, and security layer reflected a deeper philosophy: that control, discipline, and preparation were not just tools for winning tournaments, but essential elements for sustaining a life lived under constant scrutiny. Within that context, the reported existence of a hidden vault feels less like a dramatic anomaly and more like a natural extension of Tiger's worldview, whether fully confirmed or partially shaped by digital speculation. The story reinforces a consistent pattern. Tiger Woods has always preferred to determine what is seen, what is remembered, and what is protected. The estate itself stands as a physical symbol of resilience, a place engineered not merely for comfort, but for recovery, focus, and long-term legacy. Yet the larger question remains quietly compelling: does the idea of such a secret fundamentally change how we understand Tiger Woods? In many ways, it does not rewrite his image so much as deepen it. The champion known for mental toughness and relentless preparation appears equally committed to safeguarding the narrative of his own journey, rather than suggesting concealment. The vault, real or rumored, points toward intentional preservation. In a cultural moment that often equates fame with constant exposure, Tiger represents a rarer approach, one that treats privacy as strength rather than withdrawal. His story encourages reflection on how much of true greatness happens beyond public view. In spaces where discipline replaces spectacle and persistence unfolds without applause. As of 2026, Tiger Woods remains more than a legendary golfer. He stands as a living symbol of endurance, reinvention, and strategic self-mastery, proof that even after decades in the spotlight, some parts of a life can still be written on one's own terms.